Hello, and welcome back to HMMSA Reads. I'm Julie Zucker, the Education Coordinator at the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio. Please check out our website at hmmsa.org for more information. Today I'm featuring Letters to Rose, which is by Rose Williams with Becky Hoag and Robin Philbrick with students. Letters to Rose is the story of Rose Williams, who was a local San Antonio survivor. And people who think they know Rose's story should really read this book because it goes way beyond what she's able to tell in her 45-minute survivor speeches that you may have seen at our museum or around town. The authors elicit more detail of her story, and they research the places where she lived, where she was interned, and they place her story into historical context. This way, the audience knows what happened in that specific time and place where she was sent to get a better understanding of her surroundings. This is different from most Holocaust memoirs because they collaborated with a teacher from Johnson High School and NISD. We at the museum are always saying, now that you know, what will you do? And the students in this book answer that question through their letters. They not only talk about their response to her story, but how it impacted their lives and their futures. Let's read a little bit. I personally have a signed copy, and there are many of them available. This will be featured in our June 4th book club at 5:30. Both Rose Williams, the survivor who is nearly 93 years old, and Becky Hoag will be present. This is Rose. She's one of our most dedicated survivor testimonial speakers at the museum, and we really miss her at this time. Letters to Rose. My dear Rose, during the 10 years you shared your horrifying experience as a Holocaust survivor with us, I compiled a notebook with hundreds of my students' letters, many of which would come to be included in Letters to Rose. Their words were heartfelt, compelling, and sincere. In many instances, they could relate an element of your story to an experience of their own. As a teacher, I knew that meeting a Holocaust survivor would leave an indelible imprint on their lives and that they would forever be connected to you. The same can be said for me. I'm going to move forward. That was the beginning of Robin Philbrick's Letter to Rose. Paris, January 16, 1948. It is the beginning of winter. It is so cold. Even my thoughts were cold. They are flooding back and forth like the waves of an ocean. I must not lose this moment. And so I am looking for a pen and paper to put down my racing thoughts. I'm thinking back to the time when I was a little girl and I was listening intently to the words of my parents who told me the secret of my birth. I must record those times of innocence, moments to cherish before I descend into the darkest period of my life, in the life of mankind, the Holocaust. Chapter 1, My Beginnings. A Rose is Born. On an otherwise peaceful June night in Radom, Poland, 1927, my father ran through the streets looking frantically for a doctor. After struggling through 7 hours of difficult labor, my mother was giving birth to a long-awaited child. Repeatedly, my parents told the story that my mother, who had only one son during the first 8 years of marriage, had bitterly longed for a second child. She went from one rabbi to another, asking for their blessings so that she might conceive. At one point, she had resigned herself to thinking that she and my father might have sinned without knowing, and her sterility was God's punishment. One day, a rabbi's widow, our neighbor, came to see her and prophesied that she would get pregnant again. The neighbor asked that, should mother give birth to a daughter, this child be given her name, Rose. My mother laughed at this, but to her astonishment, the prophecy came true. The old woman died, and a short time after her death, my mother found herself pregnant again. The story goes on, but I'm going to pause there and read a little bit from a student's letter. Dear Mrs. Williams, I sat in the crowd and listened to your story. It was truly an amazing speech that I would love to hear again so that I could catch every detail and learn as much as I could from your firsthand experience of this world's darkest moment in history. What inspired me most is that you had the strength to keep speaking even after you shared some of the most excruciatingly painful moments. You demonstrated profound strength, courage, and poise on the stage. It was truly an honor to meet a Holocaust survivor in person, something that many will never experience because, as Mrs. Philbrick shared, we are the last generation who will be so honored. I intend to share your story with my family and eventually with my children. From now on, whenever I feel that I'm in a bad position or that things are not going my way, I will remember you and all that you have overcome. How you, against all odds, survived. Thank you, Peter Kershaw. I'd like to encourage you to join us June 4th at 5:30 p.m. It will be a Zoom call, and you can email me at info@hmmsa for that information. Please join us. If whether you've read the book or not, it doesn't matter. We would like to open it up to the whole community. We look forward to seeing you, and please join me again next week on HMMSA Reads.